Hi, I'm Jason Short from VistaDB Software, and I just wanted to do a brief video discussing the EF model designer that you see here on the screen, and how can it determine the relationships between things like an order and an order detail. When you create the database, you normally set up foreign key relationships between tables. That's represented right here, and this is basically showing it's a one-to-many relationship. Now we can select that, and you'll notice down here the mapping details, and it actually tells us which foreign key it's using. The foreign key order details to orders. And basically it's mapping to order details, and the orders order ID, which maps to this column, belongs to order details order ID, and it also happens to include, this is a compound foreign key because it also includes the product ID. But this is how the basic relationships are made up. And you can also explore them by going to the model view browser and expanding and looking at the associations here. And so you can actually see every one of your foreign keys and make sure that they're actually going in the direction that you want. Make sure that you're actually pointing to the things that you intended to. Now we'll take a look at the foreign keys in Data Builder. Loading the NorthwindEF VistaDB database into Data Builder, we can look at the orders and order details, and actually expanding out orders and looking at their foreign keys, we can actually see that there is only a foreign key from orders to customers here. So how did Entity Framework figure out that order details was related? And the answer is that it's actually in order details. The foreign key actually resides here, and that the primary table is orders, the foreign table is order details, and the foreign key is the order ID. So every entry in order details must have a parent order ID present in order for it to be valid to be here. That's the way the foreign key relationships get mapped up in VistaDB. And we can actually modify the foreign key here and take a look at that. The foreign key table, which is the one that we're in, is order details. The primary table name is orders. And the mapping is that the order ID primary key column on the primary table maps to order ID in our local table. Now, you can also change these update integrity, delete integrity. These are the actions that happen if something were to update the order ID in the primary table, meaning the orders table. What do you want to have happen in this table? You could have it cascade the changes, so any order ID changes in orders also happens to order details. They'll always match up. You can have it set to default, which would basically take whatever the default value is for order ID in this table. That's not always a good idea, especially if you don't have a default set. Then basically you'll end up with a concurrency violation when it tries to set it. You could also set it to null, basically saying that whenever the order ID in orders changes, the order detail reference here would become null. That's typically only used if you're doing systems where you have very tight coupling and you want to make sure that both tables are updated manually. Typically, you want to use cascade, in that if an update happens in the orders table, you also want the same thing to happen in order details. Also, in the delete integrity, like in this particular case, we actually do want it to cascade. If you delete the order that this order details belongs to, we want the order details to also be deleted. You could also set it to null, meaning that its parent order has been deleted, or you could set it back to its default and set a default on it of -1 or some special meaning if you wanted to do that. There's a lot more help around foreign key integrity in the VistaDB help file as a result of the foreign key work that we've been doing. We've been trying to really document this process to make it easier on users.